The pandemic has lasted a lot longer than I think many of us were prepared for it to last. But this has become a chronic stressor, kind of like cancer for many people is a chronic stressor. Where you still have to, kind of wonder about, is it going to come back? Is it not? Are my treatments going to work or not? And, the stress doesn't really go away once treatment ends, with cancer. And just like, the stress of the pandemic hasn't gone away yet. Mindfulness is, an ability that we all have. You're born with the ability to be mindful, to be focused on the present moment. And mindfulness can be really helpful right now with the pandemic because many of us are, really spending a lot of time thinking about the good old days and, how easy it was to go to restaurants and go to movies and go to Colts games and, whatever. And, we're really longing for the past. And many of us are pretty fearful about the future. We're fearful of catching, COVID. We're concerned about how much longer is this going to last. We might be concerned about our finances. There's just a lot of stress. And mindfulness can be something that can give us an anchor, to the present moment so that we can connect with our inner wisdom, so that we can make choices that are consistent with our values and that are going to best serve our lives, our families, and our neighbors in ways that are meaningful to us. One of the first ways and one of the easiest ways to get started with a mindfulness practice is to just remember that you have five senses, right? We have our sense of sight, our sense of smell, our sense of taste, our hearing, and our sense of touch. And if we can just use our five senses to connect with the here and now, like what can you see, in this moment as you look out your window, what do you see? What are the colors? What are the objects and the shapes and the sizes? That kind of thing. What can you smell, in this environment? Are there any subtle smells? If you're eating a meal, like really noticing the flavor and the texture, of the foods that you eat and taking a moment to savor, the foods that you're eating and the way flavors, dance, on your tongue, with your taste buds. And what can you hear in this moment? What are the sounds that are maybe human sounds, maybe pet sounds, maybe mechanical sounds, nature sounds, but just connecting with your environment, with your here and now, with your five senses can be a really informal way to get started. Formal mindfulness practice would be doing more of a guided recording, for people who are a little bit newer to the practices. And there are lots of fantastic smartphone apps that are available and or websites that are available. And I'll just name a few of those. There are many more than the ones that I name, but the ones that I use a lot are the smartphone apps that are called Calm, C-A-L-M. There's another one that's called Headspace that's very popular, and another one that's called Insight Timer. And then I always encourage people to start with fairly short practices just to make it a little bit more feasible, for most people. So you can start with, 5 or 10 minute practices, daily, and just making space and time for a mindfulness practice that's guided by an expert can really start to build your mindfulness muscle so that you can be fully connected to this present moment in your life, even when uncomfortable thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations show up for you, because they will. I mean, that's just for all of us in life. Those aren't ever going to go away. Yet, if we can just notice thoughts as thoughts, notice emotions as emotions, notice pain as pain without necessarily letting the thoughts, the feelings, or the pain drive your car and dictate your choices and how you're going to be in this life. I think that's the part of mindfulness practice that has been so supportive for me personally.